Hey friends, I'm on the other side of the camera now, trying something a bit different this time. I'm at this beautiful nature reserve here in Wilmington, North Carolina. It is just stunning, right next to this river. And there is a scene right here that I want to paint. These trees up on this little embankment with the water in the background and these beautiful clouds in the sky. Except I'm gonna paint it right here. This is called plein air, painting on location. This is a new thing I'm trying to learn how to do. It is a whole different ball game than painting in the studio. In the studio, everything is controlled. Everything is controlled. The lighting, the environment, the temperature. Out here, what happens is going to happen. But it is a much more visceral experience, and I believe that it will add a richness to the painting by doing it out here on location. So let me get set up and we'll see what happens. Hope you stick around. All right, got myself situated here. I will be getting an easel at some point, which will make this a lot easier, but we're just gonna wing it for now, see what happens. And the light's getting brighter again, so we'll just have to go with what nature gives me at this point. So I'm just going to do a quick sketch of what I want to be in frame. You gotta work fast when you're doing this. This really teaches you how to paint fast and make decisions. You can't waste time wondering what you're going to do. You just gotta go for it. Be decisive. I don't think I want the boat ramp in the scene. Try to keep this in frame as best I can. It is very humid here. I'm not used to it. I'm a desert rat. But my God, it is so pretty here. It is just so gorgeous. I like that little fence. I'm also getting absolutely annihilated by mosquitoes at the moment, so that's adding to the excitement. Paint that little, or draw that little path in. I love how that path is really bright. It really stands out against that grass. By the way, this is a Arches sketch pad I'm using, travel journal. Since this is the paper I paint on anyway, and I know how it reacts and how it behaves, it will make this a lot easier for me. Yeah, I really picked a difficult day to try to do this with how much the light is changing on me. It's going from overcast to sunny to overcast to sunny, and I just don't know what it's gonna do. I have no idea. And now it looks like it's going to stay more sunny. But I could very well be wrong about that, so we'll just have to see. It is what it is. It's a good exercise in letting go of the outcome and just enjoying the process. And I can already tell how much more present I am in this environment doing this. I'm really tuned into what's going on around me in a way that I would not be otherwise. Very interesting. And if you guys like this style of video, please let me know in the comments if you want to see more of this kind of painting on the spot at the scene. So I'm just trying to understand what this tree is doing. It's kind of the centerpiece, or it's one of the centerpieces of the painting. I like how this tree looks like it's reaching out towards this other tree here. It's pretty cool. I really want to make sure I get the shape of these trees right. Sometimes it helps to squint my eyes. It helps kind of abstractify and turns everything into these big, more amorphous shapes. Same technique I do when I'm painting a value study, basically. I'm going thicker with my pencil lines so that I can actually see them when I go to paint over top of them. That's something that I'm not doing enough of. Painting the far side of the river. And it is just so beautiful out here. I apologize for all the idling motors around. There's nothing I can do about that. I am actually in a parking lot, believe it or not. One of the most beautiful parking lots I've ever seen. That's for sure. I noticed I also do have a tendency to drop my straight lines towards the left side of the page. I don't know why I do that, but I'm trying to not do that. So there's the far side of the river. This is just so completely and utterly different than where I come from. There's nothing like this in Arizona. It's not even close. I love coming to new places like this and just experiencing the environment. And don't worry, I'm gonna start painting real soon here. Man, these flies are biting the crap out of my arm. It's making it hard to focus on drawing. This is a lesson in focus in spite of physical discomfort, accepting what is. Yeah, they're not mosquitoes, they're like little tiny black flies. That's a new experience for me. You really do put yourself at the mercy of nature when you do this. So I ended up framing things a little bit tighter than I initially planned. Initially, I wanted to show the entire, like up to the tops of the trees, but I am not used to doing this on location. So I'm kind of having to learn again how to frame things. I think this is a really good way to kind of force myself to go back to basics. But I couldn't think of a more spectacular place to do it, to be honest. It's so pretty here. It is just so beautiful. Got another pretty distinctive trunk that kind of arcs out this way and then drops down like that. Very dramatic. And it kind of falls off the edge of the composition, giving you the impression that the scene continues off of the page. And these flies are really coming at me now. Of course, I didn't bring bug spray. Okay, I think our sketch is done here, so let's get into painting now. And this is where things will get very interesting. Still got paint on the palette from last time, but that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with making it a little messy, a little dirty, a little it just adds a little richness to it. And I've got this little plastic jar for my water. Holds just enough for what I want to do, I think. So let's just drop in that sky with some clouds here. Clear off some space. Just balancing the stuff on my legs. All right. Mix up some cerulean blue, cobalt blue, the usual sky mixture that I do. And we'll just start dropping it right in there. Nice light sky towards the top. And drop in some nice fluffy clouds. Mixing up some gray to drop in some of the shadows in the clouds. And it's kind of a gray washed out blue down towards the horizon. Just bring that all right down to the horizon. I'll soften the edge of some of these clouds with my wet brush that's cleaned off. Just scrubbing into the edge of that shape will soften it, but you got to make sure your brush is relatively clean. This is going to be very, very, very loose, very impressionistic. That's all I'm doing with this guy. That's it. I'll just go straight into painting the horizon there. Beautiful, vibrant green on the horizon, but I want it to be a little more faded so that it gets pushed into the background. Drop in that nice water, some kind of grayed down greenish cobalt blue. trying to paint around some of those bits of the wooden fence so that they pop out as a highlight. Yeah, this is painting speed run for sure. Paint that grass in the foreground. Just drop that cadmium yellow right into that grayish blue mixture that was already on the palette. Drop some burnt sienna into that to redden it up a little bit here and there. Paint around that path, which is going to be a lot lighter. More burnt sienna for this area here, which is a lot more brown red color. It's amazing how much more vibrant the colors are when you're looking at it in person versus a reference photo. It's a totally different experience. You can just really see all the nuances and the subtleties that just get lost in a photo. That green becomes much more vibrant again right there, right in that area. Yeah, that's looking pretty good so far. Now that the sky's dried up, we'll start dropping in that same color for the trees, except we'll darken it up a little more. Nice, rich, vibrant green. doing some dry brushing to kind of indicate those sparser leaves right here. Just constantly adding variety and nuance to these colors. A few hints of just straight yellow in there for those very, very vibrant green areas. All right. So let's drop in just the tiniest hint of burnt umber for the path there. Just a very light glaze. And I'll probably end up darkening up the greens that are surrounding that in the grass to add more contrast to it later on. Let's paint in some of the trunks of these trees. Burnt umber. Burnt sienna. Ultramarine blue. Cobalt blue. I'm breaking up the shape of that trunk to give the impression that the leaves are going in front of it here and there. It really helps trees look more realistic if you do that, I've found. Like right there. Shape gets broken up and then it continues upwards. Nice. I'm liking how this is turning out so far. And if I wanted to make this a full-size painting at some point, which I probably will, well, I've already practiced painting it once. Yeah, this ended up being a fully lit scene, which I am not complaining about. I like that sharp contrasting light. High contrast lighting is my favorite. Dropping in a few of those shadow areas here. Texture to that ground right here. I can take my finger and kind of scrub it out a little bit if it's too dark, which it was. Just want that trail to pop out a little more. And that is doing the trick exactly like I wanted it to. Love it when things work out the way you think they're going to in watercolor, because it just has a mind of its own a lot of the time. All right, so let's get that liner brush out really quick and paint some of these finer branches. There's some really beautiful cast shadows on this trunk that I just think are so pretty. Kind of dappled like that. I love it when branches cast shadows onto other branches. It's so satisfying for whatever reason. It just really adds so much interest and dimensionality to the tree. Makes it so much less flat. Essentially, it just looks more like a tree. Some cast shadows on the ground from this one here. we're getting pretty close to being finished with this guy. So let's take a look at what we got so far. I'm just gonna darken up a few areas in the foliage of the trees before the sun goes away again. We're so close to being done. Don't want to lose the light now. It stayed completely lit for me this whole time, which is so actually crazy that it did that. I can't believe that happened. That's crazy. What a cool little surprise. Well, this has been quite enjoyable for me, and I hope it has been for you too. And the light's going. But I think I get the point. I can remember what was going on. Please let me know if you enjoyed this style of video. I plan to do more of them. So if this is something you enjoyed, more of this to come. And just as I'm finishing, look at that, the light's going. Amazing, just amazing. That's just incredible. I really can't believe that happened. What a nice little gift. Just add a little texture to that path. And I'm gonna call that a finished painting. So from Wilmington, North Carolina, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had a blast making this painting. I really got to sit here and become a part of the landscape. I hope you enjoyed it too, so hope to see you on the next one.